Hello everybody, welcome to my anticipated Let's Play, and I have a special guest. Introduce yourself.
JAKATO X here, yeah.
Yes, my good buddy, JAKATO X is here. Cause like, it's funny, I was doing this, I was setting up for this, LP for Street Fighter Cross Megaman, and I was talking to somebody, they're like, you should get somebody who knows Street Fighter to co-commentate with you. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And I'm like, well, JAKATO knows a lot about everything, so...
Yeah, I'm apparently an encyclopedia for lots of knowledge on random stuff.
Well, you always talk about, like, Street Fighter stuff, Mega Man. You know, like, a ton about Mecha, like, jeez.
Yeah.
So,
hey, if it's about robots, I know practically everything about it.
So this stage, I start off with Blanca. It's infamous for slowdown.
Yeah, I had that problem.
I don't have it when I normally play, but when I record it, you can tell that there's some, because there's going to be some frame skipping and stuff. That's just things I can't avoid, because I'm using Camtasia Pro 7, and it was the only thing that would record this game without giving me spaceman jumps, so yeah, there's also going to be some audio issues once I get to the bosses, because for some reason in this game, when I get to the bosses, the audio just, like, goes off kilter. It also happens in, what's her name stage, in Viper stage, too. So, just a heads up to everybody, and to you, if the audio sounds off at any point. I tried my best to fix it. But anyways, yeah, I like Street Fighter. It's one of my favorite fighting games, but I really only know about the second game. And from what I understand, you played the million versions of 3. You played a couple of the spin-offs, so you know quite a bit. So
yeah, if it's from like at least the main Street Fighter series, I played like all practically at least once.
Everybody keeps telling me I should play Third Strike, but I'm just like, I don't know.
Third Strike's like, it depends on your preference. Like, a lot of people like it and everything. Personally, I just like Alpha 3, but that's just me.
Yeah, I wanted to get into the Alpha series. Like, I haven't even looked into that. Like, I mostly play Super Street Fighter 2 and Super Street Fighter 4. So...
Well, most people who got back into 4, like, after a while, because, you know, the series was, like, away for, like, a long time. Like, most of the people who got back in with it, with number 4, was that, like, old number 2 veterans.
Well, like, when I saw what they were doing with 4, I'm like, oh, this feels like 2. It's like, it's kind of what they were doing, though. Because Capcom was in that whole nostalgia feel, so... They still kind of are, but they're kind of in a rut right now. They seem to have a problem with making anything good.
Right.
Like this game, for instance, isn't actually created by Capcom. It was actually originally a fan game. Yeah, it was originally a fan game made by a guy in Singapore, and he just showed it to them at a Street Fighter event, and they're like, we have to publish this. So anybody...
A lot of people questioning, do they do that because they didn't really have anything?
Well,
Really
here's what Svensson basically said, and I'm not saying his exact words, I'm saying my interpretation of what he said. Guys, we fucked up. We fucked up big time. So, here's something for now. And when we have something for you, we promise it'll be something. Like, that's what it felt like to me when he basically, Sven was saying, like, look, we know we screwed up. Here's a free game for now. I know it doesn't make up for anything, but in the very least, it's something. So, and I thought it was pretty big of him to basically admit to being wrong. So, like, not that I, like, want to see him humiliated or anything, but, like, Capcom definitely needed to atone for, or at least speak on something of what's going on with not just Mega Man, but a lot of other franchises. Resident Evil took a big hit, too. Like, RE6 didn't sell nearly as well as they wanted, and I can see why. I think,
like, a lot of it, too, also, like, they recently had that Capcom survey, too, like, gauge interest in, like, different properties.
Like, But like Resident Evil 6, I played the demo, and I haven't played much Resident Evil, but I've been trying to get in the series. I played the demo, and I made the mistake of playing as Chris's campaign, which is apparently the worst campaign in the game. So.
Yeah, that's...
Then again, I'm not good at newer games, so like my friend, I'd play RE5 to my friend, he'd be like, "What are you doing? Come over here," and I just go, oh. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people complain about Resident Evil 6 was like, it wasn't really like the other Resident Evils. I mean, they kind of brought back the old versions of Resident Evil Revelations, and then that happened.
You could probably hear like the audio lagging and cutting, and that's me trying to fix it because it cut out and would lag all throughout this fight. This fight was the worst. The reason I started with this is because I like to get his weapon as insurance for collecting E-tanks.
Oh, yeah.
And to get the laggy stuff out of the way first, because the rest of the recordings aren't nearly as bad. But I cut this actually pretty close. Do I begin this length? Yes, I do. Okay. So yeah, the thing is, like, most of this game, I beat most of the first time I played, I beat most of the bosses Buster, because I was like, I didn't know well, it was day one, so nobody really knew all the weeknesses.
Yeah, nobody really knew the weaknesses or anything.
I first streamed...
Except for the ones in the trailers and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I first streamed this game, when the day it came out, and I had my normal buddies from the Rooster City Gamers site with me, and my buddy Foffy had played through some of the game, and he already knew some of the stuff, so he's telling me some of this, but most of the bosses I beat with the Buster, so this is actually my fastest playthrough so far. I played the game in about an hour, so yeah, now that Blanca's done, I was like, I could go after Rose, who is weak to Blanca's weapon, but I'm just like, I'll go after Chun-Li because she's easy. But yeah, like, the bosses I know are like Ryu, Chun-Li, Blanca, Dalsim, because they're all SF2 characters, but once I go past SF2, I don't know much. Like, so, like, I'm sorry if anybody, like, is upset that I don't know that, but I was like, Street Fighter 2 is what I grew up with, and I didn't really, when Third Strike and all that stuff was coming out, like, when the Street Fighter 3 stuff was coming out, and EX, and all this stuff, I was...
Well, yeah, because, like, I think it was, like, CPS 3 or something, not that many people followed on that. And that was like where Street Fighter 3 was. Like, they had like arcade games that practically nobody heard of, like Red Earth, and like Street Fighter 3 was kind of like at the end of the arcade era almost.
So, something else I should mention, which I've already probably mentioned a million times, is yes, I am both LPing and reviewing this game. The footage I'm using for this is for my review, and I'm probably going to post the review first, before I post this, so that it's basically not spoiling anything for my review. But, see, I used Blanca's item there earlier to make sure I got the E-Tank. Because in this game, E-Tanks are scarce. Like,
oh yeah, seriously. Like, you want to get those.
It's funny, the first time when I did that stream playthrough when the game came out, I didn't know that, so I had been using E-Tanks without knowing that they were limited.
Oh yeah, same here.
So, my buddy Fox was like, don't use the E-Tanks. You can't get them again. I'm like, what? So, I got really stressed when it came to the boss gauntlet.
Right.
I spent an hour my first game playthrough doing the boss gauntlet because that boss gauntlet is intense. Like, CJ recently played this game too, and he had the same problem. He's like, he's stuck on the boss gauntlet because he's like, do I use an E-Tank or will using one waste it? Like,
yeah, I remember like the first time playing it too, I got stuck on there, and then there was the part where you recover health by shooting the middle area. Nobody knew about that.
Floppy had to tell me that one too. I'm like, where's the health? I'm like, oh my god! He's like, shoot the hands. I'm like, okay. But Chun-Li is the easiest boss in the game. But the guy who made the game, the developer, pretty much said that he put Chun-Li in as a boss for newcomers so they can get used to the gameplay. So she's
really, because like when I played it, I actually like Rolento was the easiest.
Well, Rolento's pretty easy too, but Chun-Li, I find Chun-Li's the easiest. Chun-Li, Blanca.
She has more of a set pattern than everybody else.
Chun-Li, Blanca, and Rolento I can all beat with the Buster, but I've actually beaten, like I said, most of the bosses with the Buster. So, but if like
that box are Megaman colors right there.
I love how they have, what's his name, come in and get hit by the weapon. What's his name?
Dan Abiki.
Dan, right, Dan.
Parody off of, like, the SNK characters.
Yeah. So, let's see. Who do I go after next? I forget. I recorded this like a week ago. I recorded this Christmas Day, actually. So, Christmas Day into Boxing Day. So, the game only took me an hour to...
It's on the 25th.
Yeah, like, the game only took me an hour to play through, but it would take twice as much time to render one part in my video capture program as to play it. So I basically play a level, and I'm like, alright, I'm gonna render this clip, I'm gonna play some more Pokemon White too. So, I basically would just sit here playing Pokemon and waiting for it to render so I could play the next stage, so... Yeah, but I have so many screen recording programs, and I tried all of them, and Camtasia Pro 7 was the only thing that would make it so I could play the game pretty much seamlessly, or as seamlessly as I get. Fraps had the best quality, but had that moon jumping problem, where, like, every time I jumped, it was like I was on the friggin' moon, so... And then I tried, like, a couple other ones, and... Camtasia seems to be the only one that works, so... I have an older computer, though, so... Fraps will probably work for somebody who has a better computer, but... I couldn't get it to work properly. And I know a lot of people have said that they were kind of upset that this is the game we got for the anniversary because it was technically a fan game that just got published by Capcom, but I'm like, you know what? It's an official Megaman game. So...
Yeah, it's official now. I mean, that's an achievement enough by itself, a fan actually getting something made, and then made by the company.
And the way I see it, if Capcom's not going to do anything, the least they could do is take a fan's project and make it an official game. So, like, regardless of what people think or not on it, or say, this is an official Mega Man and Street Fighter game. There's no way getting around it. It's an official game. You can either accept it, or you can just be oblivious to it. But if people were honestly getting upset because of that, I'm like, well, let me put it this way. Mega Man's 9 and 10 weren't developed by Capcom either. In fact, the way they came about was kind of the same thing. Like, a developer came about and said, we want to try making this, and they said, do it. So, the only difference in this situation is this game was already completed, or had a... not completed,
yeah,
had a
I remember
build.
when, like, YouTube, there was, like, preview clips of the guy when it was just a fan game, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting, and I was waiting for it to come out. I didn't hear anything for a while, but I guess because they actually took it as a real game.
Mm-hmm. Well, the story that I heard was that he had like a beta build of it at that Street Fighter competition. Like, I don't know what it's called.
Evo.
Evo, yeah, right. That's the
probably
one.
Evo.
Yeah, at Evo, gave it to Svensson, and he passed it around the office at Capcom, and they liked it so much they're like, we're gonna publish this and make it free. So that's probably another thing too. It's good that they made it free because honestly, after all the crap Mega Man went through the last couple years, and some of the crap that Street Fighter went through, because it's gotten some...
like DLC...
on-disc DLC, new versions of Street Fighter 4 when they said Super Street Fighter 4 was the last version of it, stuff like that, and that collector set that I heard wasn't very good, but...
the Alpha series.
Yeah.
DX and, Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, I don't know much...
I don't... like, the PS3 version is a lot better than the Xbox one.
Yeah, I don't know much about that anniversary collector set that came out, but all I heard was it was very disappointing. So...
it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah. Mega Man was really down, and Street Fighter was kind of down, but they both kind of needed something, and I'm glad that Capcom was just like, you know what? We gotta do something. We can't just keep telling them, oh, we've got plans for Mega Man, and just keep throwing things out. And one of the biggest problems was they would announce games and then not have them greenlit, which I think they learned from their mistakes. Well, see, Inafune could have gotten away with it. He got away with it because he did get away with it. That's how Lost Planet came into fruition. He's like, we're just going to start developing Lost Planet and announce that we're developing it. And then he gets so far in development, and then Capcom was just like, well, I guess we have to greenlight it now. So, and then it ended up being really successful, so...
yeah, that's still kind of what GX Troopers came over here.
Yeah.
It's been out there working on, but not going to America for some reason.
But, I'm just glad. I'm hoping this is just a start of things to come for both Street Fighter and Mega Man, because
yeah,
like I hope they don't think that Street Fighter 4 is going to last 10 years, because it might be. It's getting close to time that possibly might have to have a Street Fighter 5. If not,
I hear like the people working on Street Fighter, they actually want to make like a new alpha game. I hear.
if they, yeah, like a new alpha game would be awesome.
They said it's gonna be like right after Alpha 3.
And as you can see, I just got my ass kicked by Rose.
Oh yeah, I like how like if you get killed by there, and then you get the end animation that they have from like, Street Fighter 4.
Yeah, if you get hit by their super. By the way, that's what happens when it zooms in. They use their super. And the interesting thing about this game that I heard about, like, again, I don't know that much about later Street Fighter games, but if you played, even if you haven't played Mega Man in a long time or ever played it, but you're into Street Fighter and you know the games, it's set up like a Street Fighter game, so that, like, you're like, oh, I know this person's special, I better watch out, like...
Right, it's kind of like Mega Man in a Street Fighter fight, but playing like Mega Man.
Yeah, like, I remember one of the guys at Capcom said, he said, Blanca, he's like, what's going on, why is it zooming in on Blanca? And he's like, oh wait, it's a special, and he knew that the ground was electrocuted, so he jumped up right away. And he's like, just stuff like that. Like, the guy put love into both Mega Man and Street Fighter into this, so...
Right, it's like subtle stuff. Like, for example, Ryu is immune to, like, projectiles when he does his Hurricane kick, or the Tatsumaki. And that's just, like, in the real game.
That pissed me off so much when trying to fight Ryu. It's just like,
oh, yeah.
I'm trying to hit you with your own blast! And it's worse than the boss gauntlet, because he just spin kicks the entire time. I'm just like, stop. Anyways, thanks for watching this part, guys. We will see you in the next part of Street Fighter Cross Mega Man.